What's up guys, BARRYGAMING here, back with some more Raid Shadow Legends, and today we're talking about one of the most important heroes for you guys to build correctly in the early game, Kael. This is one of the 4 starter heroes you can pick from, and let's be honest, this is the one you should really be picking because he's going to help you guys against the clan bosses. He has AoE damage, he has so many great capabilities, heck, even pretty decent in arena very early on, and I want to go over why he's so good and tell you how to build this hero really to enforce those skills. So make sure you guys are using our promo link if you guys have not tried Raid yet and you want to download it after checking this out, and this is going to get you some bonus stuff. Number 1, we're going to talk about the actual main attacks here. Now, he does have a chance to apply poisons to enemies with a couple of his skills. However, one thing you really need to know with poisons, you need to have accuracy on this hero. So when we get to like the portion where I'm going to talk about what type of gear to have on him, that's going to be important because of these poison abilities. Putting a debuff on them for 1 round. Of course, his acid rain is an amazing AoE damage that has an extra 15% chance to inflict a critical hit, so that is very strong. Gearing him for crit and crit damage and stuff can be really good. Fills the turn meter of this champion by 25% for every enemy killed, so if he kills 4 enemies, he's just gonna get that turn meter back if for some reason there's more than 4. Usually there's only 4 that you're facing, so it's not too big of a deal. It does get him to his next turn faster though. He kills like 3 of the 4 enemies out there. His disintegrate ability attacks 4 times at random and has a 40% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff. This is why it's so big. This poison damage right here is a percentage damage buff. This is why against enemies like those clan bosses that we've shown you guys in the past, does crazy amounts of damage. You see most of your heroes doing anywhere from 5 to 15,000 damage. This poison is going to do upwards of like 20-30k damage, and it ramps up so fast. Beyond that, he has a pretty solid overall leader ability. If you put him in the leader slot, he's just going to give you guys more HP on your team, which is good. Not necessarily the best. In the early game, more survivability is always good. Later game, you might want to go to another hero that has more of an attack oriented setup here. So that is his skills here. Of course, he has 1 skin. We're not going to be talking about that too much, but I want to jump over to our skills over here and our abilities to show you guys how I'm gearing the hero. And I think one of the things you guys should really go for is in the early game, a must-have is the lifesteal set. I love running the lifesteal set as a 4-piece, so having more than 4 pieces of lifesteal is going to be a waste. You only need 4 pieces to get that 30% heal based on the damage you dealt. You can go for an attack set, you can go for a crit chance set, you can go for an accuracy set. There's a lot of different options you can go for here because there's a couple things you really want to aim for. In reality, I probably should be going for something more like an accuracy set. I just don't know if we have super great options just yet. Comparing them, it actually might not be bad. Getting additional accuracy on this hero is going to be very, very strong. But let's talk about the stats you want. Number 1, besides the lifesteal set, which is pretty much a mandatory, you get a free 4-star set of it right out of the gate. Really, really good. You might even farm some better like 5-star stuff here. On the rolls on these characters, there's a couple things you definitely want to go for. Speed is an important stat. Accuracy is probably the most important stat I feel like early on, and getting your way to 100% crit rate is going to be doing a huge amount because remember, with his skills here, he also has an additional chance to get crit chance, but doing that crit damage is really going to scale him very, very well. You see, most of our stuff is going into attack. We do have some speed on our pieces. We're getting 34% crit rate from our gear, 15% crit damage, which isn't as big of a deal until you get to the higher crit rate. And we do have some accuracy starting. Again, getting to 200 accuracy is going to be a very, very difficult job to get to, but getting these upgrades and getting these stat bonuses are going to be big. You can't be too picky very early on. Your first 4-star set of gear is pretty much going to be standard. Everybody kind of gets the same thing, but your rolls are going to be important. So one thing I will say, you might have multiple heroes, you might have all these different gear sets. I would mainly focus on getting a very good plus 16 set of lifesteal first and foremost on Kael, and then moving on to some other 2-piece bonus that's going to help out, because again, right here we're getting additional attack. You might want to go for crit rate. So like on this piece here, if you do have the pieces, there's a lot of different sets. There's a ton of them out there. There's heal bonuses, there's attack, like even here you can get the 15% attack bonus plus ignores defense, which is cool. You can get crit rate plus self shield. There's a lot of different combos here. I don't really have anything too great to throw in right now, which is why we're kind of stuck with this. And then of course, when we get down to these jewelry pieces too, these are going to help you get those stats as well. You mainly go for somewhere around 170 to 200 speed, somewhere in that ballpark. 170 is a safe amount. 200 accuracy is going to be absolutely amazing, and getting yourself to as close as 100% crit chance as possible is going to be very big. Now, the next thing I want to talk about though is going down the route of talking about the skill tree. Going to max out Kael's masteries first is probably a very, very good thing to do. This is probably going to be one of the places you get a ridiculous amount of your stats, and the bonus here is the fact that you can only pick 2 of these mastery trees to go for. If you pick offense and then you pick support, you can't put any points into defense. Now, you can reset these. The first one is free. After that, the reset on these are going to cost gems, so make sure you go the first route very smartly is going to be key. And mainly, we're going to be going for things like crit rate. We're going to be going for crit damage. We're going to be going for increased inflicted on shields, because some of these are less than great. Like this one right here, increases the damage inflicted by 5% when attacking with full HP. That rarely happens, and that also means you have to take the attack rune. So you can see how it branches down. If you go to this one, you get some more options, but essentially what we're going to do is go down this offensive tree in this form. We're going to get these 3 points, and then we're going to come on over and get Whirlwind of Death. This increases the speed by 6 for each enemy killed. Very, very good. Beyond that, we're going to go with the Ruthless Ambush. Increases damage inflicted by 8% for the first hit on each enemy. That can be really good with the rain ability that hits all targets. It's going to do a crazy amount. Really, really awesome. After that, we're going to move on down to Cycle of Violence. Has a 30% chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random skill by 1 turn if the damage inflicted by the skill exceeds 30% of the target's max HP, which honestly happens quite often with this hero, which is why I feel like this is really, really strong. These are going to be the builds you're going to want to do probably more or less for, like, you know, Doom Tower, faction wars, things like that. There is some flexibility in this. There are some other really good options too, like taking certain ones like this over here, increases damage inflicted to targets with less than 40%. That's going to be really good on things like campaign bosses, clan bosses, even dungeons. Anywhere you're going for bosses, there are some of these abilities that are going to be better. Bringing it down to another example, increases the damage inflicted by 6% when attacking targets with higher max HP. That's always going to be the case, but then there's the solid ones like Cycle of Violence. You're always going to pick this one. Moving on down further, whether you're going for bossing or regular, Blood Shield is going to be the way. It places a shield buff on this champion for 1 turn when this champion kills an enemy, except for a boss. Absolutely huge. You're also going to want to go for Kill Streak. Increases the damage inflicted by 6% in arena and siege battles, and 3% in all other locations for each enemy killed. This hero is doing AoE damage, getting lots of kills, which is amazing. And then the last one is kind of a toss-up here. So if you care more about faction wars, arena, Doom Tower, going for flawless execution is going to be the way, getting additional crit damage. However, most people are probably going to want to go War Master here. Has a 60% chance of inflicting bonus damage when attacking. Bonus damage equals to 10% of the target champion's max HP, or 4% when attacking bosses. Really big for bossing. This is probably one of the best things you can do right here. And then when we come over to the support, this is going to be some auxiliary stats that you can get, such as accuracy, to help build your hero. Going for accuracy, a must. Going over here to heal the champion by 10% for the max HP when they kill an enemy for the first time, again a must. Arcane Celerity, this is going to be the best option in the 3rd tier. Has a 30% chance of increasing the turn meter by 10 when a debuff is cast, and he casts quite a few debuffs out there, so keep that in mind. After that, Evil Eye is the good option to go for. Decreases the target's turn meter when this champion hits them with the default skill for the first time. Decreases the turn meter by 20% with single target skills and 5% with AoE, so really, really solid. You're probably going to want to come down and grab Master Hexer as well. There's a 30% chance to extend the duration of any debuff cast by this champion. That's really big, because getting some additional debuffs rolling out is really big. It doesn't extend to like the CC effects, but it does extend out to the dot damage. And then one other option you can go for is Lore of Steel. Increases the base stat set bonuses for all artifact sets that increase base stats by 15%. This increase is multiplicative and not additive, which can be a ton of additional stats. So going for those 2 trees is going to be very important, and getting your stats built the proper way on this hero are going to be the 2 biggest ways to get the best bang for your buck out of this hero. So let me know what you guys think. This is by far the best hero to invest in the early game. Heck, it's probably going to be my first 6-star hero before any legendary heroes or anything like that. Probably going to do a little bit of spending here in the next day. I'm going to show you guys another really good spending option to go for, and hopefully it helps you guys with your progress as well. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Hit that subscribe button. See you guys next time.